In this video, I'm going to showcase a bunch of different ways to fix FPS drops in Fortnite. These tips work whether you're getting stutters, lag spikes, or just low FPS. Whenever Fortnite drops a new update, especially with new content or map changes, your graphics card has to recompile a ton of shaders. This shader compilation happens live when you play, and that's what causes those early season FPS drops, stutters, and random spikes. This is why having shader cache enabled, at least at the driver default option, is a must. I do wish Nvidia would tell us what the default amount is, but it's most likely 4GB. However, I will say that most people in the comment section do find that setting it to 10GB helps a lot, but I have seen people go as high as 100 to even unlimited. Your FPS stuttering can actually get worse if Fortnite is installed on a hard drive, so if you haven't already, make sure that it is installed on an SSD drive, preferably an M.2 one if you have got one. Trust me, it'll not only load everything a lot faster, but also reduce stuttering. Also, if you are using performance mode, it's very important that you go into the install options and ensure that you have the high resolution textures turned off, as this will not only save you around 20GB of extra storage, but it'll also avoid any unnecessary VRAM usage. Oh, and while you are in there, make sure to enable the pre-downloaded stream assets. It prevents Fortnite from trying to load stuff mid-match, which is a huge cause of FPS stuttering. It doesn't really matter how powerful your PC is, everyone does deal with these stutters at some point. Even the top pros like Peterbot and even Clix have had it happen to them in the past.
Chat, is this season this bad? Like, why are my frames dropping to 0 every second, man?
So now that you know what's actually causing these stutters, here's exactly how you should fix them. If you open the task manager and go into the performance tab, at the bottom you can check your uptime, and it may be much higher than you did expect. The reason for this high uptime is because of a fast startup feature, which puts your PC into a hybrid hibernation state. To fully shut down your PC and reset that uptime, you can hold shift and click the shutdown button from the start menu, and that will force a proper shutdown for your PC, which can be beneficial because it can clear out anything that's lingering that could be causing FPS stuttering. Inside the Windows search, type in adjust the appearance and performance of Windows, then select the adjust for best performance box, and from there you want to manually click all of these options on screen to basically keep decent functionality in Windows. We don't want to completely strip everything, we only want to uncheck things that aren't necessary. Next from that, you want to go into the settings, into the gaming tab, and where it says game mode, you want to make sure that this is enabled. Furthermore, you can go into the graphics settings and turn on hardware accelerated GPU scheduling, as this is great for improving performance. And then below that, you've also got optimizations for windowed games. Be sure to tick this if you use windowed full screen. When you bought your RAM for your PC, it is actually possible that it may not be running at the speeds that it should be. Like, I'm talking about the speeds that are advertised on the box. To get what you actually paid for, what you need to do is enable something called XMP, or the AMD equivalent. To double check, you need to restart your PC, you need to go into the BIOS, you can usually get in here by pressing the delete button or F2 on boot, and then you need to turn on the XMP or the DOCP setting. Not only will this give you a nice performance boost, but you'll also get the speeds that you paid for when you did buy your RAM, and this is something that helps massively with FPS stability as well. Before you do open Fortnite, it's very important that you close everything in the background that you don't need. This includes Google Chrome, Spotify, or anything that's running in the background that's just not needed. The reason behind this is because these apps can take up unnecessary system usage. From RAM to CPU cycles, any of these can potentially lead to random lag spikes. If you are curious of the usage, you can go into your task manager and sort by CPU or memory to find out which ones are taking up the most, and then from there you can shut down anything that's unnecessary. You can also search in the startup apps within Windows and disable anything that doesn't need to launch when your PC does boot. I can guarantee that you'll find some apps that have been starting up in the background that really don't need to, so just feel free to uncheck them and they will not launch as soon as your PC launches. You can just launch them manually later. If you use Discord or Google Chrome, they could be hogging your GPU's resources in the background, especially if you have a low-end PC. To fix this in Discord, go into the settings, then into advanced, and literally turn off that hardware acceleration setting. Do note that you will most likely only see a difference if you are on a low-end PC or laptop. To do the same in Google Chrome, you can go into the settings, then into system, and again disable that hardware acceleration setting. Do keep in mind that your browser may feel slightly slower, but if you require it to be open while you are gaming, this can definitely help. If you open up your CMD as admin, I recommend that every now and then you do a quick system check just to make sure everything's running in the background properly. I usually run this command on screen, and then if I want a deeper scan, I'll use this command on screen. If either one of them commands finds any problems, you can then fix them with this command on screen. Then optionally, you can also run this one on screen. This one will scan and repair any broken system files. But remember, it's only worth doing this if you are having any sort of issues. On your desktop, if you press the Windows key and R at the same time, then type in %sign local updated %sign, you can then press F and find the Fortnite game folder. And what you want to do here is basically delete this folder. Don't worry, this is safe. All it does is reset your video settings and delete any corrupted, outdated files. All you have to do to get that folder back is open up the game again, and it'll regenerate that Fortnite game folder. Once you have opened the game though, if you go into the settings under video, make sure the rendering mode is on performance. After that, scroll down and turn all of the graphics settings to the lowest ones possible. You'll also see the Nvidia Reflex low latency mode at the bottom too, and if you are getting game stutters still, you may want to consider turning this off, or at least using a lower setting like on rather than on plus boost. Some PCs do run a lot better with having this option disabled. Even for the pros, some of them have this setting turned off, and that could be the reason why. Furthermore, you can go into the game settings under where it says replays and turn off all of these if you don't use them, as that'll get you some more FPS. Oh, and same with the ones below that, the energy saving modes, feel free to turn off all of those. If you're using a modern gaming mouse, it probably supports high polling rates like 4000 Hz or even 8000 Hz. But there's a reason why Peterbot, the best player in the world right now, chooses to stick to 1000 Hz. It's because high polling rates can actually cause FPS issues. So to avoid that, if you go into your mouse's software and just make sure that 1000 Hz is selected, you will be good to go, as this is stable and reliable. As a bonus, if you are using DirectX 12 and you're still getting heavy stutters, Epic Games actually recommends deleting all the files in the DX cache folder. But do note, your first game after doing this may stutter like crazy, as all those new shaders are compiling. However, after a few games, it should smooth out. Hopefully this video helped you guys understand why FPS drops and stutters do happen, while also explaining a ton of tips on how to potentially fix them. If you are still getting any sort of stuttering, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will try and help you further. But before you do go, feel free to check out any of my other videos on screen right now, and I'll catch you all in the next one.